That artwork.
This is the North End. This is the North End.
Welcome to the North End Premier League Review Show. I'm here with the one and only Mr. Paul Forrest and Connie. And of course, Luke is late as per usual. I will start with you, Connie. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good to be back.
Good to have you back, I have to say. It's been a bit of time you've been away. You enjoyed your trip?
I did. I'm happy to be back. Happy to be talking to you guys about football. Looking forward to the upcoming game week. So, looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, it should be good. We're going to do reviews this week, and then we've decided, folks, to split things up a little bit. So we're doing reviews on Tuesday every week and Thursday previews. Obviously, that could change slightly depending on availability, and we're going to try to have guests on every Thursday from opposing teams when we're able to find somebody to join us. Paulie, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. I just want to ask Connie, like, now that you're back from the East Coast, do you think you can settle into a life that's less lobster-filled? Like... Are you spoiled now?
Did you eat a lot of lobster when you were there?
Yeah,
that's all I would do if I was out there.
I did. I ate a ton of lobster, ate
Butter
a ton of
everywhere.
seafood. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I don't know if I could live out there, but I do miss the seafood. Good call. That's the thing I miss the most. It was delicious and affordable. Affordable.
Yeah.
It's the affordable that really gets you on the East Coast.
It is, isn't it? Because it's like, what does a lobster cost here compared to there? Like, what's the difference in price?
I would say it's almost double.
Wow.
I think it's like $45 to get one here.
Yeah.
Like to get one to go home and cook it. And I think it's like $15 there.
And
Dude,
and that's cooked probably really well too by
we got
local chefs or
six.
something, right?
Yeah, there was a lobster place. We got 6 for $40, and they were a good size, like a normal big lobster. It was incredible.
Cockroaches of the sea, by the way.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I'm not making that up. They actually are. The same.
They're bottom
classified
feeders.
as the same animal as cockroaches.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
nice,
delicious.
Look at that, learning on the North End podcast. This is
I
what we do here.
wish cockroaches tasted as good.
Yeah,
You don't know they don't.
Maybe
I'll
they
put
do
it that
yeah.
way.
Have you ever put a ton of butter on them and then eat their guts before?
Cockroach
I have
lobster
not.
roll.
Yeah,
What
no.
you guys try and let me know how they are.
We're gonna do it. All right. I think Luke is with us. He looks like he's kind of half-ass ready. He's chewing some gum. We'll check him out. Luke,
There he is.
What's up, pal? Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you're on time as usual, which was nice to see. What's happening, pal?
Well, after that warm response, you piece of shit, I'm all right, mate.
Hey, you deserve it, mate. It's 5:41.
He was
this
losing
noise.
it. He was losing it.
Connie disappears for weeks on end. We're all worried sick about him. We
Oh,
send
nobody
up
was
search
worried about him.
parties.
I didn't care about that. I just was
I
like,
literally changed. I know that's bullshit. I specifically trained 2 dogs with his scent. Don't ask me how I got a scent, but I did.
I don't want to know.
And
It's a unique scent.
I'm sure it had to do with cocks. We haven't talked about cocks yet, so we just throw that in.
Yeah. I don't
if
think
you
you
get
were good last
a
week.
box of Axe body spray, you can train any dog to find Connie anywhere.
I'm a Lynx guy. I use Lynx.
Oh, he's a
not
Lynx
Axe.
guy.
Just to
All
be-
right.
Wow,
Well,
there we go.
Anything to be different.
He shut that down so quick. He's like, I'm a Lynx guy. Don't
Yeah.
you?
Absolutely.
He
Yeah,
knows
don't
his
even-
brand.
yeah,
He knows his brand. It's you'd expect that.
What I liked about that exchange is that Connie and I actually we took a moment to connect because I reached out to him, was just like, I'm a little bit worried about you, and then Luke and I talked about it, and like we both kind of like, yeah, we were a little bit worried about Connie, and Brian's like, I didn't give a fuck. What are you talking about? Nobody cared about him.
No, I just wondered where his content was. You guys are supposed to do content. He doesn't do the content. He doesn't tell us what's going on.
He was belly deep in some lobster roll.
Nobody knew what he was doing, though. You could have said, hey, Connie could have said, hey, guys, can't do the transfer show this week. Somebody else want to do it? I'm going to be away. No, it doesn't do that at all. It just doesn't
That
say
would require a degree of ownership and responsibility.
Yeah,
of this
imagine that,
podcast.
right?
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it does.
It
All right,
does.
boys,
It sounds
well,
like too much.
It is. It's too much. It's you and Luke together are just a couple pieces of work, I got to say.
That's fair.
All right, so let's get into it, boys. We had week 2 of the season, which is amazing. Really, another great weekend of football. Did you guys enjoy it? Any thoughts in particular about this weekend?
I think they'll come up as we go through the games, right? Like, I mean, for me, I watched, as many games as I could, saw the highlights. It's week 2. We've done this before where we go, oh, this is what's happening. And then I was thinking about it. And then by the time week 10 happens, it could be the polar opposite. We're seeing some possible trends, but I don't know. Like I've got there's you go on Twitter. It's just the way the world is now. Everyone's like, oh, Chelsea are going to win the league. Chelsea are going to win the league. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't think Lukaku is going to score 30 goals.
Let's chill out. I went from like missing the fans to being like, oh my God, there are fans. Week 1, there are fans. This is so unbelievable. I missed it. Oh my God. To like week 2, I was just like, yeah, they're fans. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like I got so used to it so fast. I was like,
I didn't. I really
let's just
enjoyed
focus on the games now.
But yeah, all right. Let's talk about the games. Let's bring up the lovely artwork that the one and only Mr. Paul Forrest puts together for us each week.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Look at that,
That is
guys.
wonderful work,
Let's just
Paul.
talk about
Wonderful
that. That is fantastic
Look
stuff.
at that, guys. That's great stuff right there. So we've got Paul. Why don't you talk about some of the conversation points there on the left, and then we'll get into the scores with Connie.
Lots of great news, lots of not so great news, and then unfortunately, because of the times we live in, we're going to start off with some icky news, I'll call it. Since the
Icky's a
start
good
of
word
last
for
week,
it.
when the games resumed, there have been 16 new positive COVID tests across the EPL from coaching staff to players. It's not something we want to be keeping tabs on, but the worst thing that could possibly happen is a pause to the season because of COVID. So unfortunately, it's a little bit like the humidity check when you're worried about weather or hurricanes. Like, you be smart to keep tabs on it if you want to know what's coming. So we are going to try to keep a little bit of tabs on this without getting too deep down the rabbit hole of COVID, because honestly, I use this show as an escape from that shit. So
Yeah, and
purpose.
let's talk about football, but it's good to get that out of the way because it is important to recognize that hopefully it doesn't affect the fans and
Easy
the
as
game
well.
and stuff.
16.
It's a lot, and it's surprising because we mentioned it just before we started, is that why are vaccines mandated, and if they aren't, or if they are, like how are there so many? Like, do you think the protocols in place would stop that? But anyway, enough with that crap. Onward and upward, Paulie.
Almost just as disgusting news. West Ham, top of the table. Terrible development in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Can they maintain? I would say probably not. But, more power to them. Top of the table right now. This weekend, there were 22 goals scored, which is down double figures from week 1. So maybe some sense of normalcy is going to start resuming. There were 7 clean sheets, which is up 2 clean sheets from the first week. So again, getting back to that normal pace of things.
Four
one
games.
One of the big observations for the weekend are it's almost like a swinging pendulum. It either goes far left or far right, but it's been discussed, and you can kind of see it through some of the games. The refs this season are just letting the players play. They're letting not everything go, obviously, but they are letting a ton go. You could see games like Liverpool versus Burnley, where the Burnley players were manhandling within letter of law all the Liverpool team, essentially. Things that would have been called last season for sure, just not getting called this season so far. And the officials are coming out and saying, get used to it. This is how it's going to be. This is how the Euros were conducted, and all the fans said they loved it and they wanted to see this again. It's maybe over-indexing a little bit from the madness of over-officiating last season, but it does seem to be the reality that this season will have hopefully less referees kind of stepping in and enforcing their will or stamping their footprint into games.
It's been really
we'll see what that's
enjoyable.
about.
I have to say, when it comes to the refereeing and the lack of VAR controversy, it's been great. It's been such a difference from last season, and I'm so glad they addressed it. I don't understand why they didn't just do this in the middle of last season when they realized it was fucked. Just fix it halfway through. What a difference! What a difference! The aggressive, the get up when the people doing their diving and over exaggerating fouls. It's fantastic. Absolutely love it.
I can definitely say the pace has improved.
Sorry, what's that?
Are we reclaiming football just a little bit?
It feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, ye old English football.
I heard a pundit say, the refs are letting it go. It's like it's 1998, and I'm like, yeah, that's great.
I don't know if I want that. I want them to just call it the letter of the law. Like, there was some moments, this weekend where I was like, whoa, that was a foul, and it wasn't called. And you know what? It's always going to be the same until it happens against Spurs or Villa or United. That's when it's going to piss you off. You're always going to see a little bit more get let go in the Premier League compared to like the Serie A's and some of the other leagues, but within reason. Can we all say within reason?
Lovely aggression.
No,
Yeah, until
honestly,
someone goes through the back of Harry Kane and he's out for 6 months. That's when you might not love it.
Football, mate.
I want to see. I want to see a centre back just go through, like an expensive transfer, and that's when I feel
Jack
that-
Grealish
no-
at Man City.
Oh,
you know what?
mate, just-
Watching
Vestergaard, boom.
watching Tanganga smash him up a bunch of times against City was absolutely beautiful.
I
It was
haven't.
fantastic.
I never saw the highlights,
Oh,
and I need to. Yeah,
He
just
he
for that.
threw him to the ground like 4 times, and you know that cast he's got on his arm? That's from Tanganga last season throwing him to the ground when he was at Villa.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah. So Tanganga's just owning him.
I
It's
don't even know
fantastic.
what that is. I don't think it's even a cast. I think
It's a
it's
thumb,
almost-
like he like twisted his thumb or something like that. So
It's a guard,
Come here.
yeah, it's a guard. Anyway,
like a thumb guard.
great aggression. Loving the football. Loving the
Yeah.
intensity. Loving the
Kick
lack
this
of
shit out of
the
someone.
lack
Let's
of
go.
VAR. And I have to say it again. I know I've said it. The lack of VAR controversy is just so joyous. Anyway, onward and upward, Paul. Again,
I've definitely noticed the pace of games has improved dramatically. Like there are still pauses to review things, but like nowhere
Quick.
near the extent of what was happening like last year, the entire season. Like,
the thickened line for the offside fixes that completely because
it's
it's
one of the
immediate.
things, but I also think just like not going, like letting leagues, like when play can be physical, you're not reviewing every tackle to see if there was like a red card in there or a yellow card. You're just going, I didn't see anything, and you're moving on, not
Yeah.
going upstairs to see it all the time. Like you're not getting a lot of that kind of like bullshit, and then the dark arcs can kind of start coming back into the game. Whatever.
Right.
So there was only one red card so far this entire season, which is again much better than what was going on last season.
It was
has to be
ugly.
said.
I have to say.
And the current joint league leaders in goal scoring are Bruno Fernandes from his 3-goal haul in game 1, and now we've got our man Antonio from West Ham, who
Love
is
it.
I don't know if you guys have got this.
highest goal scorer for
Maybe the most entertaining character in the Premier League.
Oh.
I've said it a couple times.
Great
because
celebration.
I've seen him on documentaries or videos where he gets interviewed and tells his story. He's a hell of a character. I just feel like he's now at a point in his career where he can be that character on a week-to-week basis in interviews or just on the field. Like I just think he's going to unpack this whole new level of charisma that we're just not ready for as a league. This Antonio fella, I love him. I love
And
him.
if you didn't see his celebration, he went over to the sidelines, picked a cardboard cutout of himself up,
It's beautiful.
kissed himself, and then chucked it. It was
It's a me celebration.
Not even the
Absolutely
celebration.
fantastic.
Not even
Absolutely
the celebrate.
fantastic.
Watch his interview with Sky Sports
so good.
post game.
So
Everything Paul just said. I as much as I don't whatever about West Ham, I want to see him continue to do well, so I can see more of that. Hard not to love the guy. Entertaining and bringing fun back into the game, right?
Yeah, lots of
Do
fun.
you know what?
Lots of fun.
I find it a little less sad though, because I called this out a couple of seasons ago. I used to watch him, and he's got so much about his game, and I wonder if he'd been given more of an opportunity 4 or 5 years ago at maybe a slightly bigger club. Could this have been a very a more developed and a more lauded centre forward or striker or forward player? Like, could he have maybe been an England striker? Like, I love how Antonio plays. I think he offers
Really good player.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
He's
Great,
31 now, but they used him as a winger for years, Luke. Like
Yeah.
he was always a winger who could get a couple of goals, but now like he's changed from number 30
right
to
back
number
first.
9.
He's a proper nine
Looks
as
like
well.
a proper
he's
nine.
scoring proper 9 goals, which is good to see. That
he is.
that twist and turn that he scored to score that goal was just, I was like, oh, that's a 9 goal right there. Just in the
Beautiful.
box, body shape, spins, turns it, bang, just bangs it in. Fantastic goal. Well, really
I wouldn't feel too bad about his journey. Sometimes the sword needs the forge to get to be as sharp as it is, and this is
what language.
Whoa!
this is what his journey brought him through. These are the challenges he had to face. This is what made him into the player he is now.
Beautiful stuff.
I love
beautiful stuff.
I love it.
Can we put some music on for that? Jesus.
Yeah. Also, let's be. So, if you haven't seen the actual interview where he explained what he did with the cardboard cutout of himself, he kissed it on the mouth, and then he lifted it over his head, and then he referenced during the interview afterwards, why did you do that? He referenced the wrong dance movie. What he was basically
did.
saying
No,
was,
he's talking Dirty
haven't you
Dancing,
seen the
wasn't he?
movie Dirty Dancing? So his entire celebration to become West Ham's like top goal scorer in Premier League history was to reference Dirty Dancing for some God knows what reason. and I love it. It's
That's
so
so
random.
good.
But that's not even what he
did
said.
say again?
He called it
No.
"Save the Last Dance." When
Yeah, he
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it. He
yeah,
said the
yeah.
wrong dance
He said
movie,
the
and then
wrong-
it
the
clarified
wrong movie.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Save the Last Dance doesn't have a lift scene. Everybody knows that.
Come
on.
on,
Damn
get
idiot.
your dance movies together here, guys. Get it together.
He's calling out Carragher and Neville. He's like, "Haven't you seen the movie?" He goes, "Guess what it is?" And they're like, "We don't know, man."
Connie.
Did you hear their guesses though? Carragher's was just like, "You've not been kissed in a while." I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
God, you didn't even try, did you?
That's weak.
Ugh.
That's weak. All right, let's get into the
Weak.
scores, fellas. Connie, on your bike, buddy.
Yeah, man. Liverpool hosting Burnley. Liverpool are looking good, boys. 2-0.
They look juicy.
Diego Jota in that number 9 role looks like
Looking
he's
good in
preferred
that
over
position, isn't he?
Firmino. Nice header. Really nice ball from Trent into Sadio Mane for another goal. This was a good game. Van Dijk back. They look like they're picking up where they left off 2 seasons ago. What do you guys think? Paul, is this a real deal or is it too early to tell?
They thought they looked really good. I mean, it's Burnley, so you can't
Yeah.
get too excited. I thought the fact that 2 goals coming in from wing back play, like 2 crosses from both sides, the right side with Trent, who was man of the match, by the way, and the left side with the new fella, the Greek guy whose name I'm not even going to attempt.
Yeah, don't try, Paul. We don't.
Is it Timiskisk?
It doesn't
you
matter.
dropped
He's
the
going to be
kids.
replaced by a
Yes.
Scottish guy next
Yes.
week. He's
He's
not going to
gonna-
be here for long
True.
enough.
He had his moment in the sun. That was a wonderful cross for that.
Yeah.
second goal. Really good
But
goal.
the fact that they're getting goals from that wing back play is a very good indication that Liverpool are implementing what they're laid out to implement. So I thought they looked really good. I thought I was a little bit curious to see what Van Dijk would be like with big body Burnley, if that would add an element of challenge to his recovery, like where he is at when it comes to that level of physicality. And I just didn't see too much that thought, like, I mean, I don't think Burnley had a lot going either. Like there wasn't a lot of, crosses in the box, like loading up on the keeper and stuff. There wasn't a lot of
Could this be
opportunity
their
for that.
season? Could this
I
be
think
their
it's still
season?
very early to say. I think before we get too
True.
excited, we should remember Chelsea Liverpool is next week, and we'll talk about that on Thursday.
That's going to
But,
be that's going to be the
Oh, yeah.
telling game of where both teams are at. I think.
yeah.
Early
But
test.
I
Oh,
thought, yeah,
I
Liverpool-
meant more
they look good.
Burnley to go down. That's what I
Oh,
meant.
also true. Potentially, I don't know.
No.
I think Burnley are just too resilient. The other teams,
Correct.
there's other teams that are worse.
You got
that,
it.
Gotta
That'll
hope
go
not.
down before Burnley does, but they'll be right on the cusp. But they won't go down.
And I will
That's my
say this too, in credit to Liverpool, this should have probably been about 3 or 4. There was a lot of chances that they almost
Hang on.
converted.
Can I just introduce?
No, we lost you. We lost you, Luke. Your audio's gone.
Did
Oh,
he
is that-
interject to introduce us to his mom, and then the mic
and then
went
put
out?
us on mute.
Hi,
Yeah,
Mama Connolly.
You're muted there, Connie. I
You
don't know
gotta
what's
take
happening
yourself off mute.
There you
pal.
go.
Okay, you're back.
That's
Nope,
fine.
Still can't hear you, pal. Still can't hear you. Don't know what's going on. You're gonna have to leave and come back by the sounds
What
of
have
it.
you done? What have you done?
ruined
This
it,
is
but I got
this
a
is
beer.
pretty
Oh,
standard
he's
for your
back now.
son.
Oh, I
back.
think is he back?
It's back.
It was in and out. It's something's
Is in and out. Is it back?
It's
You're back. You're back.
Okay. That was weird. All I was saying was I got a beer delivered to me. That's great about being home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mama
Where'd
Connolly.
you get it from?
Hey, Luke's mom. How you doing?
Shopping. You went to the shop for me. God, that's fantastic.
Welcome to the
Messages.
show. Welcome to the
That's
show.
love. That's love
Yeah.
right there.
Stuff there. Good stuff
Yeah.
there, Luke.
You think Connie's hot?
Bless.
I'm not sure about that. Okay.
Ew.
She gets it. She's got a good eye.
The bald head. It's the bald
She's
head.
got a good eye.
Connie's
got a
like,
good
she
eye.
gets it. She sees
What
it.
do we learn about Luke's mom? Great taste in men. Yeah,
true.
let's move.
That's
Let's
true.
move forward now that Connie's got that Luke's got a pint. Villa hosting Newcastle. Villa 2, Newcastle 0. 2 things. Goal of the week by far, Denny Ings. Incredible.
What a
Daddy
cracker.
Ings.
I do want to call out Callum Wilson missed a sitter early on when it was 0-0. And it was one of those where he's one-on-one with the goalie, missed the net, but if he just rounded the keeper, it was a tap-in. But still, Villa were too much. Luke, I'm sure you watched it. What were your thoughts on this one? And stop going on mute. Yeah, you're on mute again.
No, I'm not gonna. There we go. I'm back. Great, fantastic. Sorry about that. Oh god, I loved it. I just love smashing Newcastle, and I wish we should have brought Colin on just for 2 minutes. I could laugh at him, but no, I thought it was a cracking performance. Not ideal. Still a couple of weaknesses here or there, and could the game have been different? Callum Wilson had a glaring opportunity to take the lead, and you would have bet your money on Wilson to slot that in, but he didn't, and Villa kind of took the game from there. I don't think Newcastle really offered a whole lot, and Villa looked a lot sturdier than they did against Watford last week. And Danny Ings, this is why I was talking about him so much. 2 games, 2 goals. And you've seen him, like, he's got that confidence to be pulling off a move like that in the second game of the season, like
world class.
That's unbelievable. That's a
World-class
confident striker right there. And so I'm happy. And now that we're not going to be losing half of our best players because of this international break thing is fantastic.
I love that new rule that they've come in with. There's like five players at Spurs that don't have to go on international duty and get injured. Quick note on this game. I thought Villa were fantastic in this game. Obviously, the goal was ridiculous. They responded, I think, to last week, which was important to get a win this week. So it was positive for Villa, and they looked like what we'd have expected them to look like this season with some of those new signings. So quality stuff.
Yep. Crystal Palace hosting Brentford 0-0. Vieira gets his first point. Other than that, pretty quiet. I don't know. What did you guys make of this one? Like Brentford, I was looking for some sort of reaction from them, but you're also looking for Vieira and Crystal Palace to, like, who are they going to be as a football club? I don't know. I mean, 0-0. Is there much more you can say about it?
Zero identity for Vieira, and I said it last week on last week's show that I just think they're going to struggle with getting up the pitch and transitioning and scoring. Zero service. I don't know. I remember the exact what the numbers on chances were, but they were pretty low.
Yeah, 2 shots on net.
Yeah, 2 shots. So Brentford, I think, is a good result for Brentford. They got a win and a draw in the bag to start the season, so that's good for them. Obviously, they probably could have done better as well, but canceled each other out. But basically 2 teams at the same level.
Conor Gallagher, Chelsea loanee, looked pretty good. Paul, what's the ceiling for this guy this season?
It's tricky. Man of the match. He was a West Brom player last season on loan from Chelsea. One of the loan army at Chelsea, which is pretty ridiculous. They've got 2 or 3 guys that are on loan that are doing very well in the Premier League, and in that they're starters for Premier League teams, which is by definition very, very good for a loan player because they're going to get growth. He's pretty well hyped at some point by the Chelsea folks, but a hyped up Chelsea player doesn't become a Chelsea player. He gets bought sooner or later. He's very good. It's hard to tell what his best position is. He's not somebody. He almost plays like a Barkley to me a little bit in that kind of dynamo role. He's not like a Billy Gilmore where he controls the play and just everything runs through him. I think he's going to do very well for Vieira. I think he's going to be a very youthful loanee. But it's hard to say what this team is and what his role will be in the team when, again, a loanee comes into an established squad and looked by far the best player and probably had the least amount of time to work with Vieira of everybody who's in that group. And
it's concerning.
Doesn't it just show the massive difference, though, in quality between the Championship and the Premier League? That Norwich absolutely ran away with it. And they've come up and they conceded something ridiculous, like so low in the Championship. And they look like the same thing they did 2 years ago. They look like the whipping boys again. And I don't think any of us would have said any less than 3-0 here against City. And I think any of the big guys are going to absolutely whip them around the pitch. So I think it's going to be a really long and horrible season for Norwich. And I actually don't mind that because Milo Rashica gave us the fucking cold shoulder for about 2 years on speculation and transfers and then went to Norwich. So you know what, Rashica? I hope you're right there, mate.
Anybody else confused why he's talking about Norwich?
How'd you get on Norwich, mate?
Yeah, we were talking about Palace.
Them too. I don't know.
How many beers did your mum bring you?
Yeah, he's been waiting.
I don't know.
I'm learning so much about why you are the way you are by your mum bringing you a pint and me thinking it might have been your 10th.
That was incredible. But let's move on.
Full rant. I was staring at the wrong game.
I love when Luke shows up prepared for the shows.
It's like the guy who doesn't do his homework but just thinks he can BS his way.
I like that, though.
That was beautiful.
Leeds hosting Everton. Leeds pulled the Leeds. Came back twice. Damari Gray with a goal back to the Premier League. Luke's a big fan of him in fantasy. Dominic Calvert-Lewin with another goal. First from the penalty spot, but Leeds pulled it back twice, got a point out of it. Entertaining game, gents.
Fun game to watch. I really enjoyed this. This was probably from a neutral perspective, the best game to watch this weekend. I really just back and forth, really open.
Yeah, this was exciting.
A lot of proper Premier League match. It was a ton of fun. Both teams.
You're not going to like this, Brian, because you got kind of tired of it last season. But this is Bielsa ball. This is the exciting ride that is Leeds.
Oh, I know.
I it's going to be fun.
I got sick of it. Everybody just having a wank about them, like they were the best thing on the planet when they were, they finished 10th or something. So, but yeah, I mean, it was entertaining, and I thought Everton looked good as well. But also defensively, both teams kind of were a little bit sloppy, a little bit open, and not as
that Michael Keane error was a championship level error.
Pretty
where
ugly.
He just has to play the ball. He looked like Phil Jones. It was actually I rewatched it 3 times. I was like, that's not good enough. I'll be shocked if he starts next game.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row.
He never should have got that move. He should never have got when you talk about Michael Keane, I don't think I would ever have put him in a. I don't think of his name and his ability in a top 10 team in the Premier League, let alone even a bottom half. I just don't think he's good enough. I never have.
But he did play well when he first got there. He had a good run. He looked just horrible this game. He was not bad. He had a good spell with them. But
Connie kind of glazed over this, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 55 goals for Everton.
Yeah.
Not one of those has been from the penalty spot. This is his first penalty. Can you just imagine what this guy's numbers would be like if he became the regular penalty taker for anywhere? Like the amount of goals a striker usually gets on the penalty spot on top of their open play goals, and he's all open play goals.
Yeah,
Here's my thing with him, right? If Everton can keep going and get a decent run going under Benitez and he can stay healthy, he's a 15 to 20 goal guy by the looks of it. Like, he's got good link-up play. He's a good finisher. He gets in good areas. I'd like to see him have a good season. He's got that Antonio thing where he's got good attitude. You see him in interviews. He's positive. I like him as a striker. So, Luke, just
before you move on, I totally missed, and I don't know about me, but I totally missed that Everton signed Damari Gray. And this is massive. Like, he was a big name a couple of years ago when he went from Blues, and he's still really young. They signed him for what, 1.7 or 2.7 million?
God, it's so cheap. He was so cheap.
What?
He's playing in Germany.
So cheap.
Yeah.
He was at Leverkusen. Bayern Leverkusen, was it? Or Frankfurt, maybe? I can't remember which one.
It was Bayern Leverkusen. So they signed him and Andres Townsend. And you know what? For not a lot of money. And let's see. These are two guys who have played before. They could make a difference.
Yeah.
Gray was man of the match.
Yep.
Just before we move on quickly, Connie, I just sent you a message on WhatsApp. If you want to take a look at it, I do think that your microphone isn't connected properly. I think we're listening to you talking to your laptop mic, not your actual. Sorry, not you, Connie.
It's Luke, I think. Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. Luke, check your mic just to make sure it's the right one is being used, because I think it's just your laptop mic or whatever. So, anyway, go on, Connie. Sorry about that.
I was going to say, I was bringing up the game that I think Luke was talking about earlier in Man City hosting Norwich. Just an absolute beating. I think if you were going to guess before the game started, you would have went with 4 or 5, so it wasn't far off. But big story is Jack gets his first goal as a City player, and it really just was men versus boys, wasn't it? There's not really much more to say.
It's not even worth.
Jack Grealish knew so little about that goal. Like, that's a classic Man City goal. Just stand by the line,
be in the right
somebody
place
will
at the right time, and you're good.
Almost hit it off you. You just have to be there.
Yeah. The build-up play is there, and you're going to be on the end of it. It's going to happen to him a lot, and also he'll be part of it. A quick question about Grealish. Do you guys, when you watch Man City, do you feel like he slows them down a little bit compared to what we're used to seeing?
And that was the concern when everyone said he's not a fit for that team. I worry that is potentially a move that might not work out. I hope I'm wrong, because I like the player a lot. But yeah, and it's not the same. When you watched him with Villa, he would have the ball, he'd be making things happen. I think he's going to have to adjust to the way that team plays.
He's going to change his game considerably, yeah.
Yeah, not to say he.
But I think he's going to flood the quality, so it'll probably be fine. But it just seems to me like, just watching it so far, when he gets the ball, it seems like their play, which is normally very, very quick and dynamic, it loses a little bit, because he's.
I'm going to imagine this a little bit, but I actually found a few times it felt like City players were deliberately not giving him the ball. Like, there were a few times where, just give him the ball. Like, this is the pass where if he was at Aston Villa, he would get this ball, and I kind of know what he's going to do next. I know how he's going to like what his next thing is going to do, and it's going to be effective.
Right.
But they would just kind of casually send it away from him and keep cycling the ball. And it happened like, I want to say like 10 or 12 times where I was like,
Yeah.
like he's gonna have to get used to that, but also they're gonna have to get used to the fact that you give him this ball in this situation,
Yeah.
and then he works out what happens next. Like he's a new top dog to this team. It'll get worked out, but it felt a little weird.
He's a bit like Mahrez on the right, because Mahrez, when he first came in, was kind of like that, and a similar type of player. He'd keep the ball, he'd dribble a little bit, he'd try, he'd cut in and put it on his left foot and toss it in, kind of from the opposite side. So you're sort of seeing Mahrez developed considerably under Pep and changed his game, and he still does that a little bit, but it's way quicker. It's way quicker. It's like just the pace that it happens at, and the movement off the ball from the other players, and you just the dynamism's there. And so I think he'll probably adjust. But it is interesting to see the difference when he's in the City team.
Yeah, I don't think you can't slot into a team with a De Bruyne and not develop as a player. Yeah. I just think I think KDB is so
a Pep team too. Like Pep is going to
exactly. I've quite enjoyed it, because I'm still a little bit that he left. The idea that it's not going to work out, but you know what? I think Pep is obviously a great manager of kind of big personalities and egos, which obviously Grealish has. And then we see what he's done, as you said, with Mahrez and stuff like that. And I think it'll take some time and it may be a bit of adjustments, and I'll have to work out how to get the best out of Grealish. But I have no doubt within maybe not this year, but by next year he'll be absolutely flying.
Yeah, I think he'll go a level up. It'll be impressive to see because he's got talent. So
it's game two.
Well,
he's been there
game
for
2,
3
and he was the best player on the pitch in game 1. Like I don't know if the narrative is really he's struggling to fit in. I
don't think he's struggling to fit in. It's just that the way that Man City play is different when he's on that side of the pitch. I don't know that's a bad thing. It's just I'm used to them being so dynamic, and when he gets the ball, it slows things down quite a bit. And
it's kind of scary because they haven't even played their best 11 yet. Like by far, they haven't played.
Not even close. 11. Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on.
Brighton hosting Watford, 2-0 Brighton. Yves Bissouma, man of the match. God, do I want him at United. Nobody else seems to, but he was brilliant in the middle of the park. Duffy with a hell of a header. I don't know if you guys saw it, but way coming back, boom, right off the crossbar. And since 2018-2019 season, only 2 central defenders have scored more goals than him. He's got 7. He was great. Great.
He hasn't even been in the Premier League since then. He had 1 season on loan in Scotland, and he's still ahead of Harry Maguire, for example, just to name one center back.
And I think we talked about this, guys, and I know we went through it in our preview show, but Brighton are my number 1 team to be relegated, and I think they're going to be that by 8 or 9 points, maybe 10. I think they're terrible.
Brighton or Watford?
Sorry, Watford. Watford are terrible. I think they're. I like Brighton. I think Watford are the worst team in the league, and I think this is week 2, which we could apply to a lot of scenarios.
Did you watch Arsenal play at the weekend?
We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second. But great result for Brighton. Bissouma, treat to watch. Southampton hosting Manchester United, 1 each. United go down early, but come back to tie it up through Mason Greenwood. Anthony Martial. I'll go to you, Paul, because you're, a resident United guy here like myself. What did you make of his performance, and what's his future with the club?
It was like we played a man down. I can't say anything other than that starting 11 felt like it was playing a man down. There are other reasons why we did not play well that game. He is not responsible for the fact that we couldn't survive the press, or that our midfield couldn't wrestle control from Southampton, or that our passing was just fucking shit. None of those things are on him. But when he did get chances on the ball, he looked like he was the worst version of Martial, where those runs.
Yeah, it doesn't look interested.
And he's got a lot of rust on him, and I think that's going to be something most Man United fans can't really get their head around. He hasn't played competitive football in a much longer time than people maybe realize because of his injury, and then because Cavani took his spot, and a bunch of other things. And this isn't a game where he was getting a lot of opportunities. This isn't a game where there was ample areas of space. This was a hard game to get reintroduced to the Premier League, so I will say all those things. But it did feel like Mason Greenwood and then Sancho on the right or anybody else on the right would have made that Man United starting 11 20% stronger than what they were. And that probably would have been enough to pull out a 2-1 win. But if anything, in this game, I learned that the transfer window cannot be done for Man United if they have any kind of chance of competing for anything other than fourth and maybe a cup run somewhere. Like they cannot have a midfield that is so obviously like press them, get up on them, use Fred as a trigger to turn the ball over. Like it's so obvious how to line up and for these smaller, like quote unquote weaker teams in the Premier League, those are the guys who are going to figure us out the most. Because they're the ones that like will put in the most effort to run around.
Yeah, it's like more about them responding to United rather than
there's no press
the
resilience.
Around, right?
There's no resilience to the press, and it was Matic and Fred, and I don't think that partnership works.
That's
and
an
I think if I looked at all
midfield.
the other combinations, I don't know that any of them would have been that much better.
Can I ask you guys why they started? What was the reasoning? Is it injury issues?
Scott's injured, McTominay's injured, and those are the only three midfielders we have. We have listen, Varane was great business, Sancho was great. It's everybody knows it. If you follow the Premier League and you follow the big 6, 7, whatever you want to call it, there's one narrative with United. They have a problem in midfield, in a deeper lying midfield, and that's why
holding midfielder.
Holding midfielder. Fred's not good enough. McTominay hasn't proven that he's good enough. Matic, I'm shocked he's still at the club. It's a major issue, and Paul's right. If we don't bring someone in, we're fighting for third or fourth.
Are you guys linked with anybody at the moment in that situation?
Big news today that we're linked.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean like genuine links, not
Saul Niguez was
Paper
broken
talk.
today that Chelsea are in for him, and we're also in for him. But it will be a loan move. But apparently United are now pushing. So I guess Ole and the team and the board or whoever, like everybody knows this, right? So Ole, but we've got to get rid of players too. We've spent a lot of money, so it'll depend on if we can get some guys out.
Well,
and see if we can get anybody in.
I wanted to ask that question. You know, I think it was surprising to see Matic on that starting 11. I think you guys were probably surprised by that as well. I was actually on a train coming back on the way to a wedding, and I happened to be on the train from Manchester to Birmingham New Street, which continued on to Southampton. So it was not a fun experience to be on that, and I thought they were going to absolutely stuff Southampton. So this is a bad result. But I want to ask Connie, Paul, like we don't really hear much about him, but Van Beek, what do you make of that one?
It's been talked about a lot.
It was it was the first thing that started being talked about after the midfield looked like not press resilient. Everybody was like, "Why?"
Nobody knows.
So here's what I know. First season, he wasn't being played a lot. He's come back this summer. He's clearly gained some muscle, and he might have been given direction to get stronger and to get into Premier League shape. He had bouts of injuries last season that weren't really talked about because you didn't miss him because he just wasn't available for selection. But it wasn't like he fell out of selection. It was like one of those. So you might look at it and be like, he just wasn't being selected. Well, mixed in with that, he had some injuries. As of right now, he hasn't been chosen for 2 games. That doesn't mean he's not in the plans. It really doesn't. But everybody's acting like that might be the case. But based on this performance, if they ever go with Fred and Matic again and he's healthy, then I'm like, there's something we're not knowing here, or this is just Ole being obstinate and like whatever. And it's kind of a weird time because our best midfield player is Paul Pogba, and he's covering left wing right now. So we're already kind of in this chop and changing moment while we're trying to get the best out of Pogba while he's covering Rashford's injury. But Van de Beek for me is like, you know what? Fuck, like next game, just put him in. I don't even care. Like,
let him play a little bit, and if he has a couple of errors or if he looks a bit off pace, you're going to expect that. Just let him do it. Get him match fit. Let him play 3 or 4 games in a row, and then see like what's this player going to be, and then you'll know he hasn't done Wolves. That even yet. You know, it's like ridiculous.
I mean, they're playing Wolves next game, and it's the same thing. It's like they're going to press, so we just need somebody who's press resilient, and he's so intelligent and tactical with that ball. And technical that
he's the type of press resistant player you need because he's good on the ball. He keeps it.
If he's healthy, I think he's got to go out there.
Has to.
It definitely can't be fucking Matic again, and not with Fred. And maybe Fred needs somebody better than. It's just this whole thing. Like I get very upset now.
Yeah, and what is
I spent-
Matic is what 60 now or something like that?
I thought he was going to go to Rome. I thought Jose was going to poach him, but like get Cavani in, get Sancho starting. But we talked about refereeing. That's a foul on Bruno before the goal. He goes right through him, and the ref doesn't call it. That pissed me off. There's letting it go, and then there's calling fouls.
That's where your bitch.
That's where it was coming on.
Yeah,
but
it was coming.
But listen, let's be fair. I want to call it out. We spent a little bit too much time on United there, but it was a lot of good talking points. Wolves hosting Spurs. Spurs 2-0. Brian Dele Alli with a goal from the penalty spot.
Yeah, Dele had a great game. Dele's been playing good football, completely different football than what we're used to seeing. Wolves were the better side in this game. Adama Traore was ridiculous. It's just he has zero finish, zero in the final third. It's unfortunate because he does everything else so well. But Spurs defensively really, really resilient. You know, that's 2 clean sheets. It's 2 1-0s, which is sort of Jose-esque to some extent. So from a quality perspective, it wasn't the funnest game to watch, but I'm happy with a 1-0 win. It's 6 points to start the season.
How many times did Nuno's Wolves win 1-0?
Thank you. I was just going to say that.
No, I know. Paul, I said it before the game on my the Tottenham on Tour podcast. We spoke about that. I was like, we're going to win a lot of one. I chucked that in there. We're gonna win. We're gonna win a lot of 1-0 games, and we won the first 2 games 1-0. So it's
the man has a style of management. It's very
1-0.
Can we just address the most Tottenham thing ever to beat the reigning champions and just really, really deserve the win, and then to go away midweek and lose to this unknown European qualifying team? Like, that is the most Tottenham thing ever. I think.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Luke.
Pacos de Ferreira or something.
Yeah, but put it into context. Did you look at our starting lineup in at that game?
I did. I did.
Okay, so don't make the like. It's not Spurs. It's look at the lineup. We played 3 new players who hadn't played for the club before. We played 6 youngsters that were like from academy, like that hadn't played, and we played 3 players we're trying to get off the books at the moment. So there was no players in that team that other than the new players that were like had played together.
Yeah, before. But Tottenham still lost, and in
1-0 away from home with the B squad.
Yeah, well, Villa put out a horrendous team in the League 2 game saying we still won, but like I think it's so Tottenham. I think it's so Tottenham.
Okay, pal.
Hey, before we move, can we talk about that one run by Steven Bergwijn with that one move where he just beats 3 Wolves players and how nice that looked, like from a sheer skill, like it was beautiful. I watched it like 5 different times.
Oh, it's ridiculous what he does with his feet. What he does with his feet is bonkers. Yeah, really. He's talented, but he's also got no finish. So, frustrating player. Absolutely love what he's capable of, but just confident.
We should talk about it. Kane came on in the 72nd minute, had a great chance. I thought he was going to score. Keeper made a decent save. Brian, quick update so we can keep it moving along. What's the status with Harry Kane? Because people will want to know. I want to know.
My understanding of the status with Harry Kane is very much like the same, or the same as it was previously. He's not going this window for the most part. They gave him the offer was initially 75 million plus 25 million for add-ons, not remotely close to what the valuation is from a Spurs perspective. He's not going to Man City this window. It's just not going to happen. There's not enough time in it for Spurs to do anything with the money. And you got to fill in 2-3 positions to make up for losing for Harry Kane. He will be playing for Spurs this season, and I think he knows that already. He came on in the game at the weekend, and he was supported by the fans, the traveling fans, and I think he'll knuckle down. We'll get over it, and he'll score a bunch of goals, and nobody will remember what happened this summer. And he may end up just being with Spurs forever because of it. Because next summer is a totally different situation with strikers. He's not going to be worth the same amount.
Let's not be cruel to him.
It's just the reality of the situation.
How did the fans react to him? And I'm genuine question because I didn't see.
The fans reacted well. They sang Harry Kane is one of our own. That they gave him a good shout when he came on the pitch. So again, it's not It's not a
He's
huge
a-
deal.
he's a pro.
He's a Spurs
He's a
player.
pro, and
Yeah,
he'll
he's-
put his head down. He'll have a good season. And I think
He is locked in a golden cage of his own design.
Yeah, he screwed himself. So if he's going to complain about it on your bike, mate, like you're the one who
it's
signed a
tough.
6-year deal, and in the 3rd year, and then didn't have a bio clause because your brother was the one who decided to decided to hire your brother to be your agent. It says everything right there. Ridiculous thing. Charlie Kane. Living
All right. Take it easy. Arsenal
Breathe.
hosting Chelsea. This was the big one this weekend, and I think the shock was that Lukaku was starting, and did he make an impact? It had a goal. Should have had a second goal if it wasn't for an incredible save. One of the best saves I've seen in a long time. 8 shots, 2 on target, 11 touches in the box. Great hold-up play, but Arsenal. Jesus Christ. And they've got Man City next week. So, I'll go to you, Bri. Actually, I don't even know if it's fair to go to you. I'll start with Paul because you'll just start hammering in on Arsenal. Paul, and then I want to hear from Luke as well. Paul, is it as bad as it looks and seems? Is this a continuation? What's your thoughts on Arsenal right now?
I think Arsenal just need to get through these fixtures, almost survive a bit. You know what I mean? And then just focus on improving what they can improve. They don't have the bodies that are healthy right now. The center back pair for Arsenal were I think they're 3rd and 4th choice. Maybe 4th and 5th choice. Gabriel is going to be their guy. David Luiz, I think, is still part of the organization, as far as I know. At least knows how to handle Premier League and can maybe do a better job against Lukaku, who straight up bullied the 2 center backs for Arsenal. Yeah. And there's no management solution to that. There's no way a manager can come up with tactics against the champions of Europe with their new superstar striker who, if he's anything, will see a soft center back and bully the hell out of him. There's all this Arteta out stuff is well, what result did we really expect? Did you expect him to create a robot to go out and be center back? They were fundamentally weak at the core of that team. There are some things I saw in that game that I didn't like. I think Saka didn't track back well enough. I thought
times.
Some players maybe felt like it was already pre-decided that they were going to lose to Chelsea. It didn't feel like there was a lot of fight in them. I think there were question marks about this squad being soft. I think these are all true, and I don't necessarily think it's up to the manager to make a soft team hard when they're buying players that are not of character, or he inherited a bunch of players that are off of character. I heard the soft and hard. I regret nothing.
Why?
I think there's a lot of Arteta out.
Now, do you
there's a
blame
lot of Arteta out for nothing?
No, those 2 goals, and there was a lot of times where that right-hand side was wide open for Chelsea. And I know you could, and it's true, Xhaka wasn't coming back, but Kieran Tierney was in tight. It was poor marking. But again, I think he summed it up pretty well. They were playing Chelsea. Chelsea are the European champions. They're a good team. And this whole Arteta, it's this whole Arsenal fan base. It's just relax. You have a very tough schedule. Yet, don't get me wrong, Brentford, terrible. But you have injuries. 2 of your best goal scorers are out with COVID. It just calm down a little bit. I don't expect them to finish anywhere other than between maybe 7th and 10th. But if you're an Arsenal fan, and this is where I'll go to you, Luke, before the beginning of the season, if you're an Arsenal fan, did you expect anything better than 7th to 10th? Can you even hear me, Luke?
I think he froze.
I'll go to you on that, Brian. Honestly, genuinely, if all of us had to pick, you would have them between 7th and 10th, maybe 7th and 11th, if things went very badly. So I don't understand this whole freak out by their fans. It's where they are as a club right now. It's where they're at.
So this is the thing about Arsenal fans is they have this expectation that is for not good reason. They think they're better than they are. They think they deserve to be at the top of the table and fighting for top 4. Finishing. What Wenger did, Arsene Wenger did, was he spoiled them, and they didn't realize how crap they are. inevitably is what took place. So you've got a fan base that were spoiled for so long that now aren't getting to be spoiled as much as they'd like to be, and their immediate reaction is to freak out and to say like get them out of my club, which I think is fucking hilarious. Not if I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's great. I absolutely love watching Arsenal be absolute garbage. It's fantastic for me, and it's fantastic for most fans because it's hilarious. Luke, you're back with us again. Did you want me to share the?
Yeah, if you're finished making your points about this game, I think I want to start rivalries. I want to start calling people out. So I
want to play this. Well, and I shared this in a bunch of WhatsApp groups and on my Twitter and everything as well because it's freaking hilarious.
Of course you did.
Freaking hilarious. Yeah. This is the reason why exactly what I was just saying about Arsenal fans and their ridiculous expectation of their team. So we're gonna share it and have a watch. Oh.
Oh, my God!
Sensational. I hope people can hear this. I hope people can actually hear this.
Oh my God!
Like what did that guy? Like, what did he expect to happen in this game? This is their fan base has got to be. They're the worst.
So,
This looks exactly like Connie when he doesn't have lactose milk at Starbucks.
This
Lactose free
This is my
milk.
favorite bit.
Lactose free.
This is my favorite bit coming in. He's like, this line, the old Arsenal felt like we were the Harrods,
Shoe Zone.
and now we feel like Shoe Zone. And I wanted to play this, and I wanted Bride to play this because I'm so fucking sick of hearing Arsenal fans moan and bitch about this fucking nonsense, right? You have been consistently financially stable for years. You have wait lists for season tickets. You're extortionately overpriced as it is. You've had the Invincibles in your history. You've had Thierry Henry. You've had Arsene Wenger. And you know what, Arsenal fans? And I'm going to put out to all the Arsenal fans. Fuck you. You deserve this because you gave so much shit. You gave so much shit to Wenger, right? And now the fucking cows will come home to roost. And all of these ATV and over at Barstool Sports. And this guy, George, and in fairness to that, we just saw George, I think, has become like a bit of a personality for this. And I think he's probably obviously sticking him on a little bit.
He's the blow-up guy.
He is, but do you know
he's
what?
he's doing his thing on.
How many Arsenal guys, like fans, have a celebrity-ish identity where they're basically just there to blow up and shit on their club?
Sure. Yeah. But you know what? It's so frustrating because, as a fan of a club that has actually been, like, literally 2 seasons ago, Villa almost disappeared because we couldn't afford to pay a £2.5 million tax bill because this Chinese money was completely fucking us. And to have these self-inflated Arsenal fans blow up their own arse every week is just extortionate. You spent 129 million, and Brian is just loving it. 129 million.
But hold on,
I'm gonna
counter that though. Look, I'm a United fan. You're a Villa fan. Brian's a Spurs fan. If you watched this fall from grace as an Arsenal fan, you'd be disgusted as well. I don't know
No.
I don't know that the behavior is warranted. This is one of the best teams in Premier League history, and maybe not recent history, but let's not forget what they've done and how good they were.
The key word, though, Connie, was.
I get that, but if you are a fan. If you're a genuine fan, they've got to be frustrated. But these reactions are just come on. You were playing Chelsea, man.
It's comical, man.
You can be. Listen, it's a great point, Connie, and I think absolutely. But you know what? Like, you don't get to react like this. You don't get to sit in your silver fucking boxes and talk about how hard life is when you had in your history within the last 25 years, you have a team that went unbeaten in a whole Premier League campaign. You were there with your signs out and your Burberry jackets saying Wenger out. Well, Wenger left, and now you'd bend over and let someone shaft you just to get him back.
So you make yourself.
You did. You dug your own grave, and now you got to rot in it a little bit. And do you know what? Good luck to you getting back. but it drives me nuts. I see him week in, week out. I see these ATV. I see that they've become celebrity statuses. Why? For talking about how shit it is and how normal it is for a club not to be great all the time. Honestly, Arsenal are so fucked right now, and I don't think they're going to fix that this season. They brought in Odegaard. They will bring in at least one more player this transfer window because I think Arteta has 5 games, and if he doesn't make some serious improvements, I think he's out the door.
If he loses to Norwich after the international break, he'll be sad.
100%.
I don't think so.
Gone,
I think they're sticking with him.
You know what? I actually think he just signed a new deal today. If I'm not,
he's
mistaken.
not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
I bet he did.
Which is great. It's absolutely great. All right, guys, we got to move on.
Do you guys know who Sam Kinison is? The old comedian. That's basically the recipe for success. Be an Arsenal fan and yell like Sam Kinison does into a camera, and you can get 50,000 views.
We need to change our ideas here at the North End.
We're all too nice.
I'm fine with that, guys. If we want to start doing that, I think we could probably just go.
That's what I'm saying. We need more beef, and then this is our first official beef. ATV, Arsenal fan TV.
AFTV, by the way.
Fuck you. Oh, I don't give a fuck. They're all shit.
Well, if you're gonna have a beef,
you.
name it properly.
Are
you going after Troops?
I'm literally going against Arsenal, and you're attacking me.
Are you going after Troops? Are you going after Troops at Barstool? Are you going after Troops?
Oh yeah. I'll go after Troops. Fuck you. You shouldn't be in America. That
you
should
know
be
what,
me.
man?
Oh, shit.
Sometimes I watch his watch-alongs. I'm part of the problem just to watch him have a meltdown. So I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem. Okay.
That's how Trump got elected. That's how Trump got elected.
Monday Night Football. West Ham hosting Leicester. West Ham 4. Leicester 1. All about Mikel Antonio. 2 goals and an assist. But Perez with just a terrible red card, avoidable, and some terrible giveaways by Leicester. I think this is this is a good, decent Leicester team.
Terrible.
You brush yourself off after this and you move on. It was a bad day for Leicester and a good day for Antonio and West Ham. Any other thoughts on this one's, boys?
Yeah, I think you covered it there. I think we're looking at a Leicester side who weren't very good and then got a red card, and there's no coming back from that. So they ended up having to just try to manage the game. And West Ham are good. Like, you just have to give them credit where credit is due. As much as I don't want to do it because I'm not a fan, but West Ham look good. Like, they look like a good side. They're not going to be an easy team to play against. They're top of the league. I know it's only 2 games, and it's a bit silly to be too concerned about that at this point, but I do think that they're going to be a difficult team to play against for the season. And I was impressed with Antonio again. Their midfield looks really good. Fornals looks really good. He's a player that has improved in the last season and a half. They're a solid squad, and they've got.
Is this Brian Ireland? I've never heard you say nicer things about West Ham in my life. Very impressed. I'm very impressed with you right now, Brian.
All right.
I think
I know when to be honest.
I think West Ham need to not only give a pat on the back, but they need to get an honorary knighthood for the scouts that are keeping an eye on the Czech leagues, because honestly,
Souček,
Kufal and Souček are absolute animals.
That's why I put him in your fantasy team. I got him in mine. They're
David Moyes. David Moyes has got a weird Czech network.
You know what's funny? If you actually look at them on the Premier League fantasy app, you've got all the nationalities of the players. You've got Fabianski Polish, Cresswell English. Then you come to Kufal and Souček, and they've got and they've got no name. So I don't know whether there's something the Czech Republic are about to have been overthrown, and the Premier League like the fantasy where they knew that players were going to be injured before they were officially injured. Are they onto something? Is there a big uprising in the Czech Republic? I'm not knowing, but
nobody knows.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Ben Rama was pretty good as well too. Like, I wonder. I thought.
Yeah.
Do you think? Do you guys think West Ham will still give it a shot to get Jesse Lingard, given how good he was last season?
Yes,
I think they should.
I think so.
So do I.
They are. They're going for him. They're
like Ben Rama has been scoring goals, but his underlying stats for these goals are not that impressive. He's overperforming, and the goal that he did score was a complete and utter giveaway, a complete boner move by a center back from Leicester. Antonio jumped all over it, and then it was a relatively straightforward finish. I think if you can get him to play at the level he's playing at right now, and also have Jesse in the mix, get them occasionally on the same field together or to like rotate. I think that they're now looking like a very strong squad.
Bit of depth in that position is essentially,
and it's depth, and it's like it's not. We're not talking about tons of money. Like 30 million will get you a player where you know how he fits into your organization and what he brings you, and that's priceless. That's worth the extra 5 to 10 million that maybe you're humming and hawing about. So I'd like to see Jesse go there. I think Jesse deserves to be playing more often than he is. He's not going to be playing at United, and it's not a knock on him necessarily. It's just
he was brilliant for them last season too.
Yeah,
like, let him.
It'll be a deadline day, boys, and I think they'll get him for around 25, and it'll be a good fit for everybody involved. And that you're right, they're a good team to watch right now. Very enjoyable.
Connie, speaking of deadline day, we're going to finish this episode with a quick transfer update. We've got a few things that are on the go here. Paul, do you want to walk through this or?
Yeah, like just breaking news, boys. Just breaking news. Got 7 days left in the transfer window. That's 7 days left in the transfer window. So here's where we start getting into like the craziness of it all.
Just an FYI on that 7 days quickly for the channel, for anybody who's watching or anybody who is curious about what we're going to be doing for the channel.
All the wind out of my sails.
I know. I need to say this though. We'll be doing a transfer deadline special on the Monday before. Connie, that's on you. So get your shit together.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
Oh my God.
Connie,
we say it's on him, but I'm the one who has to edit all the footage and shit.
Also true.
Whatever.
Yeah. Fine. I don't know if that was worth stealing my thunder for.
Oh, it was
Brian.
worth it. It was.
I don't think so.
For the subscribers.
Traore, who just had a barnstormer against Spurs, is now coincidentally linked to Spurs to reunite with his former manager. I think this is probably something that has legitimate legs. I think he's not a clear-cut starter at Wolves all the time. I think they have always planned on cashing in on him at some point. I think. I would correct me if I'm wrong here, but probably a very good addition to the Tottenham side. In that when he's on his day, he's great. You wouldn't have to rely on him. He's not really taking a position away from anyone. I think you're pretty well stocked when it comes to wingers, which I would consider him to be. But how do we feel about this association and this rumor, Brian, resident Spurs
I
fan?
will say quickly, Traore to Spurs would be good. I wouldn't say it's great. I struggle with his output when it comes to assists and goals. It's very low for a player who's as good as he is when it comes to getting to the positions he gets into. We do need a right winger though. Like that is a position that Lucas Moura is playing there, but we need some depth in there to sort of just to have depth, to have make them compete a little bit. I think Traore is sort of the thicker, oilier version of Lucas Moura.
Any chats? Hold on. Any rumors around what the fee would be? Because I haven't heard any.
40 million.
That's too much.
I agree. But I mean that's the situation that we're in. I would take him. I think it's a good signing. I don't think it's a great signing, but we need some other players and we need to freshen our squad and add something to it. And I think he would do that. I think maybe potentially too with some better players around him, like the Harry Kanes, the Hoyman Sons, those types of players. Maybe he can improve his finishing and his output in the final third.
You kind of have to hope so. I mean, Wolves had something like 25 shots, I think, against Tottenham the other day.
Oh,
yeah, 20, like maybe 2 on goal or 3 on goal, and he was incredibly good up until that moment when he actually had to deliver something. Yeah, just his dribbling is insane.
That's so him though.
He just beats everybody and then fails miserably at the final.
It's his MO.
Yeah, basically like Lamela and Moura. It's and Bergwijn. This is the kind of player that Spurs love. So bring him in.
It's a done deal. You heard it here first. Yeah. Chelsea are in negotiations, according to multiple sources, with Sevilla for young French center back Jules Koundé. He represents, I think, what they're calling the priority for Chelsea right now, and you can kind of see why. He can play almost where Azpilicueta is playing right now, but also I think there's this opportunity to kind of give a little bit of reshuffle for the center back. Kurt Zouma is likely they know what he is. I don't think they're relying on him too heavily. He has some value if you move him on. This guy would be potentially a superstar in a few years. So this is a deal I think makes a lot of sense. My takeaway and where I'm coming from is I do not understand how one of the most dominant young center backs in Spanish league is not immediately going to Real Madrid now that Real Madrid have lost Ramos.
Because they can't
afford Varane. Okay, so hold on a second. Apparently, the Koundé deal with Chelsea is being delayed until they can finalize a deal for Zuma to West Ham for 30 mil. Now, the Real Madrid thing, apparently Koundé wants Premier League football and is heard today and not related to the Premier League. Apparently, it's rumored that Real Madrid are putting in a 160 million euro bid for Kylian Mbappe. So maybe that's where the
Apparently
money's
it's
going.
official, I think.
I don't think it's official, but it's heavily linked, but who knows?
Even that would have to be accepted. It would
Guys,
be great if they got him. I understand the
guys,
Galactico signing.
We got to roll on with this quick.
I get it.
Well,
I understand the Galactico signing for Mbappe, but I think they need to get some defenders. So I don't know. I would hope that this. Actually, I'm rooting for him to go to Real Madrid. I'll be honest. Not a rumor, just a fact. Shaqiri has left Liverpool. He is now with Olympique Lyon in the French league.
It's a shame.
It's
nice
he did
pronunciation, Paul. That was impressive.
He did his thing. I can get cities okay. It's just names because I don't typically care for people enough to learn their name. Lucal will tell you that's a fact. But he's gone. He was a good servant. He is a champion. He's a champion. He's won the Premier League. He was,
the Champions League.
Super influential off the bench. He wasn't a starter for Liverpool, but there were games where he helped
Scored
dig
some
it out.
cracking goals too. Some really
cracking, critical,
Important
goals.
ones too. Yeah.
Yeah, like a kind of player where I think you can honestly say if he wasn't part of that squad, they probably weren't Premier League winners at the very least.
Yeah.
So off he goes. All the best to him. Sal Niguez is continuing to be this consistent name that's getting bantered around the entire summer window. The teams he's been attached to have been relatively the same. Every week it seems like somebody's got a different perspective on who's leading the race. Right now, Chelsea, who I don't think necessarily need a new dynamic, kind of versatile midfield player, which is what his profile is, and Manchester United, who desperately do, are the two teams currently attached with this player. The latest news today by Fabrizio Romano, our friend, the rumor ponderer, who just fucking gets paid.
He's the main man.
How does he get them all?
I don't know.
Sources close to the club say blah, blah, blah. Says,
Made a career out of it. Good for him.
as of right now, Man United are the lead horse because I think the money's there, but I think the project is maybe more appealing to him because it's clear to him where he would fit in right away and how he's not going to have to compete with an army of midfielders in front of him. So that's a deal I personally would love to see as a United guy because he represents what I desperately want, which is a guy who can play in the middle, who knows what the fuck he's doing with the ball and with his body.
Well, you've all had a little thing for your teams. Just FYI, the big, not big news, but the news out of Villa right now is that apparently Villa have agreed a deal with Club Brugge to send Wesley back to them on loan. And I think that is the first of the many nails in Wesley's coffin at Villa. I think he's done.
Yeah, that's
your
not
favorite.
Really news.
He's
That's
your
not
favorite
really
Villa
news.
player.
That's not really news, Luke. That's not really news, but thank you for that.
It's quite big news. 22 million, 22-year-old? Gone.
That's gonna wrap us up, guys. It's been a pleasure, of course. We'll be back on Thursday. I'm not sure out of the four of us who will be here, but we will be back to do a preview for the upcoming games at the weekend. Paul, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I just like doing this. But maybe worth mentioning, we're going to have our friend Stan from Crystal Palace try to join us on Thursday.
Just going to get to that. Stan's going to be Crystal Palace supporter. Will be joining us on Thursday, and looking forward to the weekend. Any last words there, Connie?
Looking forward to this game week. Very excited. Glad the Prem is back, baby.
Luke?
I think we get rid of Stan and get the other lad in. What's his name? Mikey or Mickey?
You can't say that if you don't know his freaking name, all right?
We all met him. John,
thank
Bill,
you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're new to YouTube. We want to get as many subscribers going as possible, so please share this with your friends.
Connie
and
will
family.
get nude.
Connie's dick might come out. That might be a thing where we'll call it a dick out. It'll be, if we can get past the first 10 minutes without swearing, Connie's got to play.
Dick's out for the subs out.
Do the rest of the episode with his dick out like that. We don't have to see it.
This is a family show, guys.
He should get his dick out, and we should all yell into camera about how offended we are about his dick.
No, I like that. That's great. On that note, we'll see you soon. Thank you for watching the North End, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.
This is the North End.